why it's really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about a permanent loss.
Really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and D-gentlemen of all ages. Welcome back to the DGen Roundtable for our Sunday flagship news show, where we're talking about everything going on in the crypto and economic worlds when it comes to the latest and greatest. I'm your host for this evening, Zenith. I'm a bit of a legal and government analyst myself, and yes, we actually do have a little bit of legal analysis going on from the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, actually, but more on that one a little bit later. Don't have the full story, but we at least have the quick summary for you guys as the story develops. Outside of that, I am joined by my excellent co-host, Mr. Will Stevenson. How you doing, buddy?
I'm fantastic, bro. Life is good. Life is great. I've finally got a reason to wear my super fuzzy hoodie Carhartt jacket. I just recently got this hood, and it's awesome. And it's been cold and chilly over here in Texas for the last couple of days. And man, is it a thing? So I'm just kind of being cozy inside with it now. It was getting pretty cold last night. It was in the 40s, and I know that other parts of the states are having blizzards, and where you're at is all crazy cold too. But down here in Texas, we're used to this 70-degree weather, and it's been fun. Sam and I have been rolling around in the parking lots of A&M, cruising around on a land surfing rig that I built, where it's basically a big windsurfing sail on a extremely large longboard, and we just fucking tear through the parking lots in the wind. And it's been just crazy awesome last couple days. So I am a bit tired because that shit's very taxing to sit there and hold on to windsurf sail and then cruise through. So it's I'm a little bit drained, but life is good, man. Life is good. And there's been some crazy shit going on in the news. A lot of fun spicy stories that don't amount to much, like Trump talking about the aliens. It's oh, we're going to release the alien files. And I was like, okay, what are you hiding? What are you fucking hiding? You remember the whitest kids you know thing that I keep referencing, the moon bears? Yeah.
That
so
one
it's
is just always relevant, especially the last 6 months.
Yeah, it really is, man. It really is. They were ahead of their time over there at the whitest kids you know. So shout out to them. And yeah, but yeah, bro, there hasn't been a whole lot of substance in the news, and people are feeling like dog shit. And I think one of the headline articles that either you had pulled up or that I had found was yeah, we haven't seen this much Bitcoin at a loss. I think, oh yeah, one of the articles I had found was that 55% of the Bitcoin owned is in profit, which means that 45% all of the Bitcoin they're holding at a loss. So that's that. Those numbers haven't been seen since the 2022 bear market. And then when I saw that word, it's 2022 bear market. Oh fuck, that was 4 years ago. If the 4-year cycle is true, then we're in the fucking bear market. And it's oh well, shit. I guess we missed the top, or who knows? Maybe this next top's gonna happen. But anyways, all that to say, I'm doing great. Life is good. A little bit tired, so it might be a little bit of a. I might want to duck out a little bit early today. I might have for a short show, but this is good. This is good.
All good.
How are you?
I am doing pretty well. Just doing what I do, continuing work. Look, if work is boring for me, I'd argue that's a very good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do a lot of I guess
because you manage projects and you don't want to be going around putting out fires everywhere.
Yeah, it's that. And then I do a lot of safety features and stuff, meaning that if the safety features are working, I don't have to do anything. But if they're not, it means that, yeah, the cell phone's blowing up and I'm on call and going in after hours. And it's yeah, life kind of sucks when that happens. So thankfully, where's some wood? There we go. Okay. We did not jinx it. We should be okay.
Do you happen to be wearing a hex.com shirt right now, sir?
I am. This is thanks to our good buddy RH Max.
Oh, that's cool.
This shirt has found its way into like my weekly rotation of t-shirts because it's just so good. It's like that jersey cotton, that super soft stuff, goes through the wash and dryer nicely. Doesn't like shrank on me massively or anything. And I'm like, it's just good. And a red shirt. Who doesn't love a nice little red shirt?
Hell yeah, I like
the last one I had was the a grunt style, just a basic grunt style shirt that was red and had the old battle flag on a sleeve. I wore that thing till there were holes in it. So got to get me a new one.
Hell yeah. Since you're wearing a Hex shirt, I'm going to do a little bit of a wardrobe update myself. You've inspired me. Good sir.
Taking off the pimp jacket, huh? Very
yeah,
well.
taking off the pimp jacket because it's going to get very warm very quickly. So that is a consideration that I have to, make a very, very. Oh, hello, Mama Dog. You like walking right in front of wherever I'm going, don't you? What a silly goose. So I've got the this is from the Pulse Chain concert. Not Pulse Chain concert. The Pulse Chain the 369 conference. That's what it was.
There you go.
Shout out to the Ungrateful Dawn is the guy who gets these shirts made over in Nepal, and it's very nice cotton, and it's super cool and awesome. So shout out to RH Max for supplying me with cool Hex shirts, and to the Ungrateful Dawn for giving me the opportunity to purchase this bad Bamba Jamba. But yeah,
hey, very nice, very nice.
People that we love and people we appreciate. Should I hold up our little?
Let's do it.
A little sign, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are awesome, and we love it when you chit chat and tell us how awesome you are. So it's time for the chat motherfucking shout outs. I love doing it on this thing because like it's so nice and pretty and colorful. Yeah.
There you
go. All right. Let's see, what do we have for some of these chats?
We got
two chats.
Mr. Eddie G coming in here saying, Richard, do something, lol. Yeah, that is the running joke. Still just waiting for the ProveX to have the full launch. Beta test is live. So again, if you have any interesting results of that, please let us know. We'd love to hear from our reporters out in the field, actually working with the stuff and doing what they do. But yes, this is, you could replace Richard with any other crypto founder name or person involved in crypto at this point, and the sentiment would be the same everywhere you go. That's kind of
do something.
Yeah, it's a bit of the point of the show tonight here. But yeah, look, the Hexicans are not alone, but we also have something to look forward to on the horizon, which is kind of exciting, actually.
Yeah, I do. I was having a conversation with Sam about this earlier today. I wish that like Richard would focus more on the same like quality stuff that he used to focus on in the past before he became obsessed with crypto. Like when I learned about Richard, I learned about the principles of Hex and everything, and then I went and I looked into SciVive and learned all of that stuff. I never really was around for the outrage marketing or for the crazy I'll fucking debate you. Like that was never the Richard that I learned about. I learned about the SciVive Richard and all that stuff. And I think it'd be cool if he focused more on like the evergreen stuff like that. But I don't know. What do I know? So Richard, do something. It would be nifty by my reckoning if he focused on more of the older things. But yeah, Sam is absolutely right. But we've also got Mr. Hexkin lost in Asia. He's scraping dust down here. Yeah, we are all pinching the last couple pennies in our purse. So
yeah, no, when I was making the thumbnail for tonight, I was kind of thinking about, I don't know why my brain immediately went to like Dust Bowl Depression era stuff. Not because it's like, obviously the famous part of that is really like 1929 when the stock market just goes absolutely belly up, and then people are doing all the stuff like just jumping off buildings and all that crazy stuff. But it's like, by the structure, we're not there, but it sure feels like people are acting that way. Like I would not be surprised if we started seeing the crypto Hoovervilles showing up. Everyone's scraping together the sheet metal and wood pallets to build structures to try to host their next crypto event. It's like, that's kind of how the sentiment feels, and I think it's pretty relevant. But at the same time, like price is only 66,000, small dip on the day, but overall, like we haven't moved anywhere in 3 weeks. That's the real thing I'm trying to point out with the market stories tonight as well, which is like we have not gone anywhere. We've stayed exactly where we've been. Very small fluctuations. You could argue it's slightly building strength. I would actually argue it's showing weakness. But as far as the technical goes, there's one key indicator, the 20-day moving average. It's starting to converge on current prices because guess what? We've been here for like 21 days. So your 20-day moving average should be right where you are if you've been there the whole time, which is pretty much what's happening. But yeah, more on that later.
More on that later. Excellent. We're also joined by my good brother Sam, who is over hanging out on the couch with Mama Dog, who says we should write him a letter in reference to Richard Hart and all of his silliness. Believe me, Sam, if Richard responded to anything that his adoring fans thought about, I'm sure that they would be reaching out to him and doing things. So he does not strike me as the sort of man who takes calibration from outside external folks and things. But yeah, if Richard was like Brad Garlinghouse, then we would be unstoppable. Brad Garlinghouse, that's the dude for XRP, right?
Is it?
Going around, I want to say Brad Garlinghouse is for XRP, and I'm fairly certain that he goes around
CEO of Ripple.
Ripple, yeah. So Ripple XRP. I'm fairly positive that he goes around and makes business deals with banks and does things like that. So, I'm not sure what the analogy is that Eddie is making, but yeah, absolutely. And hello to Mrs. Kitty too. I heard her through the microphone there. So.
Yes, we have. I swear I've like taught the cat to have a Pavlovian response to whenever I do the intros for shows. She just like jumps on my lap and just sits down and is like, all right, I guess we're going to be here for a while.
What a good girl. Excellent.
True.
I trained Mama Dog to be the same. That's awesome.
There you go. All righty, tell you what, I got a bit of a fun thing I want to start off with tonight.
Yeah.
It is officially the end of the Olympics, and the last Olympic event was the men's hockey tournament. We had USA versus Canada going into it. For some reason, the Italians thought, oh, yes, USA and Canada, the biggest matchup that we've been anticipating this entire tournament. We're going to have it at about 1 p.m. Italian time, a.k.a. anywhere between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. for North America. Yeah, I don't know who decided that, but apparently they did. Probably because I think they had closing ceremonies this evening or really around like noon to 1 o'clock our time here. So I guess that kind of makes sense. But at the same time, it's like, hear me out. I would argue this is one of the big marquee events of the entire Winter Olympics. So come on, let's get a good time slot. And by the way, the reason I say that is that
smoked them.
I'm not going to say smoked. I actually got up and watched the game. It was a tight game all the way through. USA got up to a 1-0.
So they got smoked.
There you go. USA got up to a 1-0 lead in the first period, and then Canada, I want to say, tied it in either the second or third period. And then we went to overtime, and the way that the overtime rules for the Olympics works is very similar to how overtime in the regular season for NHL works, which is you go to a 10-minute period. In the Olympics case, it's a 20-minute period, but instead of playing 5-on-5, you play 3-on-3. And it fundamentally changes the game because there's just not nearly as many people on the ice. So you're just looking for these gaps and openings to really like punish and drive through. Because when you have 5 people, you can really cover, maybe a bit of a zone. But when you're 3-on-3, you are basically man-to-man the entire time. And you're trying to draw another defender and create a 2-on-1 situation, pass it up real quick to the open man. And then hopefully they have a lane to the goal. But our boy here, Jack Hughes, he is one of the 2 brother pairs. We have the Tkachuk's and the Hughes brothers that are both
that's cool.
Team USA. Quinn Hughes got an overtime goal 2 games ago in the quarterfinal elimination match, and then his brother Jack Hughes hammers it home for the gold medal this time around. So very cool story there. Yeah. By the way, for the people not in the know, this is one of the first years that they've really allowed like NHL players to play. So a lot of people were saying this tournament was Team Canada's to lose because their team was absolutely stacked with talent, from some of the all-time GOATs like Sidney Crosby to some of the current just like top best players. Like Team Canada had the top 3 current NHL leading scorers for the season. That's Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, and Macklin Celebrini. They had all of them on a similar line for this one, and their power play was those 3 guys and some other big hitters as well. It was absolutely star-studded. So the fact that they ended up losing this one, I saw a lot of cope from the Canadian memes today. I saw a lot of Americans like just going ham, just like, oh my God, we did it. And by the way, this is like the first time that the men's hockey team has won gold since I want to say like the 1980 Miracle team. So this was a huge moment. It was like 42, 46 years. I can't remember. 46 years, I believe. Yeah, that's so crazy. Long time, but the boys did it. And yes, as you pointed out in the green room, this continues the ongoing memes of during the Olympic time, the USA will come in and just absolutely dominate your very niche small sport that you care so much about, and we will forget about in 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I saw one of my Canadian friends sent me a picture of a bald eagle tackling a Canadian goose like in the water, and he's like pecking at him and stuff. It was
Yep.
just like some fucking shot from the wild, and he's like, "Ah, yes, the Olympics today," and it's like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So-
the memes were immediate, plentiful, and pretty darn good if I have to say so. But the hockey community was making memes during this entire thing, and it was fantastic.
Mhm.
By the way, we also got Wrecked on Crypto coming in here. He says USA. There we go. That's right. Plenty of USA chants that were going on tonight.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. True. Alrighty, tell you what. I want to start off with this. I don't have the full story for you, but I at least want to put this out there so people are aware of what is going on.
Okay.
The Supreme Court of the United States recently ruled on one of the biggest tariff cases that it's ever seen. This is in regards to the tariffs that we dealt with earlier in the year. So my crypto tie-in for this one is, well, do you remember when we were sitting at about 118,000 Bitcoin or dollar Bitcoin, and then we dropped all the way down to 70K and then came back all the way up to 126? The thing that caused that dump or that drop off was tariffs. Ultimately got it figured out. But what the Supreme Court came back with this last week pretty much was saying that no, the tariffs are not correct. If you want to do this, you have to go through Congress. So very briefly, we'll lay out the arguments for and against here. So pretty much, number one, I guess the background is this. President Donald Trump had imposed new tariffs citing the IEEPA national emergencies. This is pretty much where he used this as authorization to implement tariffs on foreign countries. The big debate here comes down to which power is reserved between the executive branch, aka the presidency, and the legislative branch, aka Congress. The Constitution is very explicitly clear that the power of the purse and the power of tax comes from Congress. But conversely, the sole reason that we even created the presidency in the first place was to have one individual figure to handle negotiations with foreign countries. So immediately you can be like, okay, I see there's a vested interest by both parties in this ability. But under the IEEPA, which came out in the 70s, pretty much it was saying that if you have some sort of emergency, you can start making these kind of decisions. Ultimately, it was a 6-3 ruling against the president, and the majority opinion in this one pretty much was saying that if Congress wanted you to be able to impose tariffs at your discretion, they would have explicitly given you the power to do so. They're also saying that under the IEEPA, we see where you're coming from, but at the same time, you can't just declare an emergency because you want to declare an emergency in order to use the powers. And then lastly, they also use what is called the major questions doctrine. This pretty much says that if anything has major economic or political significance, the court applies the major questions doctrine. And in this case, it requires clear congressional authorization for extreme executive action. That's the case. All right. The arguments against it, aka in favor of the president's actions. This one was that arguing that tariffs are actually a traditional and common tool to regulate importation, saying that, yes, you are hinging your argument on the fact that an emergency was declared in order to use these actions. But the fact shows that this stuff has been going on for a while and is actually pretty routine and regular. So it's not anything crazy.
Bro, we've been in a state of emergency for like the last 70 years or something like that. I don't know. It's been forever.
Correct. And then the dissenting view also here is saying that Congress has actually delegated the authority to tariff. Maybe not to the degree that this one was under like one big sweeping move, but historically we have actually seen this kind of stuff happen before. And then lastly, they finished it out by saying policy justifications, pretty much that emergency tariff powers help the U.S. respond quickly to global trade threats and national security concerns without waiting for the slower legislative process. So that's pretty much where it fell. It was 6-3. I understand both arguments. I think that if you want to be very principled about it, going off the argument that, and by the way, I believe I want to say it was Gorsuch was the one that actually wrote the opinion for. He was saying that, like, look, just because you like what it's doing doesn't mean you like the precedent it's setting, because pretty much there will be a time, very possibly in the next 4 years, where the shoe's on the other foot, and you're going to be wishing that we are making these similar things, which is you can't declare an emergency for anything, and just because you want to take broad sweeping action doesn't mean we should let you just because you want to. That is the very principled argument. My personal take on this one having looked at all of these things, not in a vacuum, is that the Supreme Court makes principled arguments when it's very much against right of center figures. And they make many exceptions for people that are left of center figures. And as a result, I understand the principled argument, but it kind of just seems like people using principles against their adversaries instead of just actually sticking to them. So is that a bit of a black pill take? Yes, it is. But at the same time, I think that especially politics in the United States and on the world stage, this is the power game in execution at the highest possible level. So these kind of considerations, I think, are important to make, because if you don't, then you're kind of just taking everything in a vacuum when it happens in that moment, excluding everything that led up to that situation. So am I thrilled that this happened? Not particularly. Do I understand the argument? Yes. Do I hope that they are principled in this argument and will continue to apply it in the future? I hope so, but I'm not very optimistic about it, because I have seen many of the other opinions that have been written by the Supreme Court justices, and some of them, they are absolutely gaslighting the American public on the idea of judicial activism, which traditionally is the idea that you are trying to create law or impose your will from the bench instead of doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is declaring things constitutional or unconstitutional. And the gaslight they've done is saying that, oh no, you want these things to happen. That's judicial activism. Me pushing it back against it isn't judicial activism. It's like, nope, that is exact opposite. And I oh gosh, I'll just say this much. Ketanji Brown Jackson has written some of the worst opinions in the history of the Supreme Court. And the fact that she's still on there does not give me hope that we're going to get good principled arguments in the future. It just seems like the principled argument was the one to make this time. Okay, big soapbox there. What does this mean?
I think you're generally right. I'll just weigh in my 2 cents. I will take the position that I like it when the Supreme Court does anything that limits the government. So that's my inner libertarian saying, woohoo, Now, like is it a good precedent? Are they being principled? Do they flip flop on the things that they agree with and disagree with for the reasons that you stated? Yeah, sure. I'm sure that they do that a lot, and I'm right there with you. I hope that they stay principled into the future, and that this isn't like a one-off for political motives and things. So that's my 2 cents. I like anything that limits the government in general principle.
There you go. I'm right there with you. At the same time, though, the trajectory that I've seen is that we've been going one way for about 60, 70 years at this point, and I really don't see that slowing down anytime soon. I think I saw something recently that was saying that projections for the U.S. debt at the year 2035 is like $55 trillion. We're currently sitting at like 37 trillion right now. So odds are it's only going up. But
I mean, the debt is the dollar dominance. The more debt there is, the more the dollar dominates.
I don't think so. I think I understand how you make that you connect those two ideas together. I don't think it's an absolute relationship, though.
The dollars don't exist without the debt, would be a better way to put it. Like, as soon as the United States pays off its debt to the Federal Reserve, that dollar is no longer in circulation. It doesn't exist anymore because it's a promissory note. It's a promise from the United States to pay back the Federal Reserve at some point in time in the future, which it never will do. Because to pay back the Fed means that the dollar has less dominance.
Yeah,
and the Fed doesn't even take, the U.S. doesn't pay back the Fed. The U.S. pays the interest to the Fed, and the Fed gives the interest back to the United States.
I think that you are correct in definition, but in execution, I think it works out slightly differently, which is that we can continue to print dollars even if it's not at our own debt. We can also rack up debt without printing dollars. We happen to do the two of them very much at the same time, and that largely is what funds the government and also decreases the value of the dollar, while also at the same time actually helping keep the dollar at its level of relevancy, because you're spending stuff, you're printing more of the stuff to spend, versus if you did it the other way around, you'd just very quickly be eroding trust if you're building up debt without actually increasing the money supply by doing stuff. And then conversely, if you're doing stuff without building debt, it means that you're just pure inflation, and that's even worse. So, is this the best of the three options? The answer is technically yes, but at the same time, it's like, did you choose to cut off your hand, your foot, or your finger? And in this case, it's just a finger. At the same time, you still lost a finger.
Ouch, my finger.
Yeah. Tell you what. Alrighty, I got one little clip here, and this will help connect this story to the crypto story. So
I
let's see.
I have a clip about this as well. Whenever
Oh,
you're
very
finished,
nice.
it's more
Alrighty,
funny.
fair enough.
A number of countries and regions around the world came to trade agreements with the United States. A lot of those trade agreements set tariff rates that were higher than 10%. So what happens to those countries who already came to the table, already negotiated a trade agreement with the United States? Well, this White House official just confirming for me a short time ago that all of those agreements are now reset to 10% under this new tariff rate once it goes through. So the European Union, which was at 15%, now will be at 10. Japan was at 15%, now at 10. India was at 18, now at 10. South Korea was at 15, now at 10. And Vietnam will be the big winner here. They were at 20% under their trade agreement with the United States. They also come down to 10% under this new tariff that the president is imposing as of today. So I think that's an important nuance that a lot of people were trying to figure out over the past couple of hours, Mike.
Alrighty, so what are we getting here? Pretty much quick report saying that we had a lot of previously negotiated tariffs. They've all pretty much just been marked down to a base 10% as a result of what's going on here. So what that means is that all the work and all the struggle that we had in earlier in 2025 is kind of been wiped away. You can make the argument that this is a boon to the economic world, which is that tariffs are going down. Theoretically, this should induce more trade. However, I think the very obvious answer here is that, okay, the president didn't get it done this way. It's still very much a priority. We have the established rates that he wants to get back to. Now it's a question of how do you get there again? So I think it could possibly spark more downside potential in the market due to, again, we're going back into tariff negotiations. We've seen pretty much what happens every time we do this, whether it was March of 2025 or whether it was October, November of 2025, when we were doing that only with China. Both of those times were very big reasons for decrease in price. That's the case. It means that there is a decent probability that we could see that in the near future. Overall, the economic condition is actually looking pretty solid here inside of the United States. Tariffs are just kind of throwing another wrench into this because we thought we had this solved. We thought we achieved like a steady state kind of world when it comes to the economic and investing world. But this kind of upsets that balance again. And as it stands, it's technically stable as it is, but there are the administration is obviously going to want to try to get back all those deals that they negotiated, because I'll be honest, I think it was in the best interest of the United States to have increased tariffs on other countries, because we've been exporting a lot of our labor and a lot of our labor force. You got to have some sort of protectionism over your economy. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to see what's been going on in the United States, which is pretty much an erosion of our production base, our workforce, our technical skills, all that kind of stuff. So the incentive is there to renegotiate this stuff and spark it back up. And if that's the case, there's a decent chance that we could see downside in price action again, because it's gonna just rustle the market. Probably not nearly as much as it was in the past, because we have the targets, we know what it takes to get there, we have the negotiations pretty much already done. It's just going to be a matter of going through the actions at this time. I don't know. Does that make sense, or do you think I'm kind of just worrying about nothing over here?
I mean, most of it doesn't make sense, not from like you haven't explained it well, but just that I don't really understand how tariffs work, so I might be the wrong person to ask. But like what you're saying flows logically.
Pretty much just saying we're going to disrupt the marketplace for a bit. When the marketplace gets disrupted, we typically see price action go down instead of up.
Yeah. I will say I'm not terribly fond of the government throwing like little wrenches into what would be maybe considered the free market. Vis-a-vis tariffs. I'll say that like working for Magnus Motorsports, like the company was based out of Canada and then it moved down here to the United States. And now when this tariff crap happened, like we sell really, really expensive race car parts, and like customers in the United States, like most of our inventory was up in Canada. Customers up in the United States who are paying, fucking several $100s for a simple race car part. Now it's like on top of that, they were paying another like an additional $100 just to get it like into the States and stuff. And it's like, this is, things they were buying all the time anyway. So I saw like how it worked on like small business side for the stuff. So basically what we did to solve it is we just like shipped everything over here to the States, because like we're like, man, nobody's buying anything because all these tariffs, like they have to get paid by somebody, you know, and we're not going to charge the customer more for the product itself. So like we have to eat one shipping cost, move the entire inventory over to the United States, like pay that tariff, and then like we can sell from here instead of selling from Canada. And it's just like it was a big nightmare for us in particular. But like I again, I don't really understand tariffs. I just knew that this was something that was like somebody somewhere has to pay for the thing if they want it. And when the tariffs are introduced, it's like, okay, well now you just have to pay more because someone said so, or something. So like I'm probably oversimplified in my explanation and my understanding, but that was my own anecdotal experience of it anyways.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
No. In application, that's pretty much what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah. It's like if the people
complications.
want the thing, then like they either have to pay more for it, and it's either the company's going to eat that cost or the customer's going to eat that cost. And it's probably not going to be the company that eats the cost, because companies run by selling things to customers. And if they can't sell things to customers, then they don't function, and then things don't get sold and they don't get bought. And it's like, there's all sorts of effects that come as a result of this. But anyways,
Sure.
that's enough for me. I have a funny little video to kind of tie this whole thing up whenever you are ready, good sir.
Sure thing. Tell you what, you go ahead and get that ready for sharing. I have one last topic thing on the Supreme Court. So if you want a bit of a better explanation without having to go read the 170-page document, I like this guy a lot. His name is Washington Gun Law. He did a 12-minute breakdown video today, pretty much covered a lot of the main points, gave you some better explanation of why they made the decisions that they did. It's a good watch. If you're interested in this stuff, this is probably one of the better primers you're going to find out there. And the guy also does pretty good legal analysis when it comes to firearm policy stuff as well. So that's the reason I liked him in the first place. This one was like, ooh, I was interested in this anyways. Yeah. There you go. Alrighty. What do we have here, sir?
Oh, so this is just a funny little video, and I don't know how true it is, but this is just something that our good friend Dace sent me from the DGen Roundtable, and so I figured I would share it with you guys. I have covered up part of the part of the top, so that way we could just enjoy it. Give me thumbs down if you guys cannot hear the volume. Here we go.
John in Virginia, Republican. Let's hear from you.
Well, this is John Barron, and this is the worst decision you ever have in your life, practically. Jack's going to agree with me, right? But this is a terrible decision. And you have Hakeem Jeffries, he's a dope, and you have Chuck Schumer, who can't cook a cheeseburger. Of course these people are happy. But true Americans will not be happy. And you have the woman earlier, I assume she's a woman, she's a Democrat, but she said she's disgraced. She's devastated.
All right,
by
John.
this.
We'll go to Chester, who's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Democratic caller. John in Virginia.
Yep. So
John from Virginia. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if John Barron was a legitimate person or if he's somebody pranking, pretending to be one of Trump's former known pseudonyms. Because John Barron is a known pseudonym of Trump apparently. So it's just kind of fun and fancy. So it's just like it'd just be super hilarious if the president of the United States is calling up C-SPAN to like pretend to be someone else. Like I could see it happening. Like is it happening? Probably not. But it's fun to think about, right? So again, like the thing that I do whenever I see this sort of stuff is I just think to myself, maybe, and I enjoy it for what it's worth and dismiss it other than that. So just some fun for the folks at home regarding tariffs and the potential president maybe calling up C-SPAN. Can you imagine if like Biden did some shit like that, like back during his presidency, just like called up one of the news stations? Oh man. Anyways, enough from me about that.
True. Okay. I got a collection of tweets here I want to bring us to because we talked about potential for market futures. Let's talk about the ghost of market present. And that's going to be pretty much sentiment. The sentiment has been down for a hot minute now. Coming to us from Cointelegraph, fear levels are rivaling the FTX collapse and COVID collapse. I would argue they've actually gone a little bit further just based on the amount of time that we've spent down here. What am I talking about? Talking about the old crypto fear and greed sentiment indicator. Currently, extreme fear. As of right now, Bitcoin price is actually even dropping. We just hit 65 $250, which is technically lower than the low that we had over on the 19th of February. But what's going on is that we've been down here for a long amount of time. If you caught the show last week, that was one of the stories we covered then. We're like, wow, we've been sitting down here for a while. Yeah, this is week 3. That's very unprecedented in the history of crypto. Because, I mean, look, back in 2022, bit of time down here, but we were in the teens. We've basically spent 3 weeks in the single digits.
Yeah.
This is a very odd thing to see going on with the charts, especially this indicator in particular. Now, again, the grain of salt to keep in mind here is that this is a soft indicator. It is a sentiment indicator. There are some technical things that feed into it, but it also tries to calculate intangible things such as sentiment going on with the rest of, I don't know, social media, Twitter, that kind of stuff. And additionally, people are looking at the price as well. Bitcoin is sitting right at the cost of production. That's where every major bottom has formed per cycle. So what this is the cost of mining a Bitcoin, taking into account the hardware, the electricity, all that kind of stuff. Typically, we don't really see these prices that often. We're starting to sit down here for a little bit, which does it mean that it can't go lower? No, it absolutely can go lower. But at the same time, this is an interesting point of note because it means that it's not really profitable to mine anymore. So what does that mean? Could mean that people are starting to take the Bitcoin miners offline to, save electricity and not mine at a loss. Or people could continue to keep mining with anticipation that price will recover one day. So as long as they sit on it, they will be okay. I've also seen additional stories talking about how Bitcoin miners are actually selling off the rest of their surplus currently. If that's the case, then it means that those people are looking to turn off the Bitcoin miners for a bit until it becomes profitable again to do so. Yep. Again, there's no one single answer because the overall mining market is not just a single person. It is a lot of different actors. Granted, a lot of them are very large at this point, just due to the nature of the cost of mining Bitcoin at this point and the competitiveness and the difficulty of which doing so is. But this factors in right into a lot of the other stuff that we're seeing when it comes to sentiment and price being down. How low can it go, Hex Glenn? Well, theoretically, it can go to 0. What are the odds of that happening? I would argue that Bitcoin is here to stay. I don't think it's happening. We do have an article from another guy later on who you may or may not know actually saying those exact things, but we have a bit of an argument against him. Centurion 54X, good to see you, buddy. He's saying 38K is probably the lowest it can go. Interesting. Tell you what, let's do a quick analysis real quick. Let's say we had 126 down to 38K, you want to say. All right, that would be a 60 or 70% drop from all-time highs effectively. That is very much within the realm of possibility, and arguably, I think it follows the trend of decreasing drops that we've seen in the past. So, look, something like that makes sense. But again, more people are looking at this going, what is going on? Bitcoin dropping 80% because of global pandemics? Sure. Bitcoin dropping 75% because FTX, one of the largest crypto exchanges, imploded? Sure, that makes sense. But 23-day run in extreme fear, the longest streak ever when we have a full-on Bitcoin government and the most support in history, doesn't make sense. This is the thing that we've really been following for a while here and continue to see. We've been talking about Clarity Act passing. Traditional finance has been in it. We have the Genius Act, the stablecoin bill that's already been in it. We have new ETF products that have been launched for a while now. It's like this level of extreme fear when this many people are in the market and talking about what's going on with the market, it's kind of odd because we're getting conflicting signals there. But at the same time, though, for a little bit of hope on the other side of what's going on here, again, Cointelegraph come to us with some data. Bitcoin's apparent demand flips positive for the first time in 3 months. Okay, so we're actually seeing that the market wants more Bitcoin. Well, let's see what's going on there. Tell you what, we actually have
buy it, Mr. Market.
Yeah, market, why aren't you doing anything? Come on.
Yeah, like, oh, we want more Bitcoin, but I don't want to pay money for it. I just want it.
True. But here's the thing. We're sticking with the other side of the coin argument right now. I'm sure many of us know who this fine gentleman is. This is the bull posters, if you will. So let's see what our boy Tom Lee has to say.
It looks really like it's bottoming because the fundamental story of crypto is quite positive. Davos shows banks are really embracing crypto. There's regulatory bills coming that are favorable to crypto. And in fact, we saw an announcement even today. BlackRock is going into DeFi with Uniswap. I mean, people might say that's a degen move. So crypto has a lot of sort of tailwinds. but the price action is terrible.
There you go. BlackRock making degen moves. We'll have to shoot them an invite to the roundtable, see if they want to come
Hey.
chopping up with us. But yeah, look, gosh, this is probably the third or fourth week in a row where I've had a Tom Lee clip where he's saying pretty much the exact same thing, which is like, yeah, we knew it was going down to 60K. Yeah. No, this looks like the bottom. Well, here we go. The man's at least sticking to the story, which consistency is cool to see. But I think right now, there's just a whole lot of confusion in the market. He's been on this side of the camp very strongly. So to see him like flip position would be a bit odd. And at the same time, a lot of the people following the market from the 4-year cycle are like, we told you so. And odds are they're not changing their story. So really, I think the big question remains, is this the bottom? I think there's a potential case for it. But as it stands right now, unless crypto is actually able to make a move off of this level, I think that the odds of bear market as opposed to delayed bull market are definitely a lot higher. Because right now, I mean, gosh, I'm looking at price action going on in my trading view. Let me pull this up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Pretty much, these are the last 3 weeks we've been at. This happened like literally since the show has been live. When we started the show, we were pretty much sitting about like 66,000. Now we've dropped below, and it appears that we have made a new low below where we were on 12th of February. And the only place to go down from here is pretty much that 60K area. So I've been seeing articles for the last 2-3 weeks about a 60K retest is very possible. Well, 60K retest might be possible. Looking over at our RSI, relative strength indicator, this point, it looked like previously, before we started the show today, RSI was building towards the upside. We had higher highs on RSI corresponding with higher lows when it comes to the price action itself. But the overall trend that we've been looking at is we've been having lower highs. And this is the indicator I mentioned at the top of the show, the 20-day moving average. Our 20-day moving average, we didn't quite hit it, but we've been edging up against it. Obviously, this will follow the price, and especially we've been sitting here for 3 weeks. Yeah, it makes sense that we approach that price area. So now that we're approaching it, it pretty much means one of two things. Odds are you're either going to try to break above it, and if you fail to break above, you're going to go down below it. And if you do manage to get above it, you're going to stick above it and then use it as a retest on the way down before you continue carrying up. At a glance here, again, keep in mind, like this data literally from the last like hour or two, what we're looking at is very substantial drop going on here. It is a Sunday night, so I believe the Asian markets should be opening up. So that could be the cause of this. But when it comes Monday, that's when we're going to see traditional finance markets really start making moves with it as well.
You had a picture of Tom Lee pulled up earlier, and I want to do a non sequitur if it won't distract you.
Go for it.
I like doing the fun things for the folks at home. This is what I think of whenever someone talks about Tom Lee. I think of a combination of Tom Lee and Tommy Lee Jones. So I had ChatGPT whip this up for me.
Very nice.
That is all. Nothing terribly cool and awesome.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Alrighty. I don't really feel the need to keep going on this story because we've been talking about this for a hot minute now, which is like, price down, dropped all the way to 60K. Fear and greed index, we're low. We've been low for a historically long amount of time. Is price recovered? Not really. Kind of just been chopping sideways for a bit. We're starting to maybe see the inklings of a move here. But again, this happened literally starting like an hour ago. So we're just going to kind of have to wait and see.
And, and also futures are down.
I believe it.
I was also going to say, like, eventually signals run their course and they're no longer useful. It might be like worth considering that the fear and greed index is not as useful as it used to be, or like if it doesn't make sense, it's like it only doesn't make sense because we're not looking at it with hindsight. Like what that tweet you had pulled up earlier, like talking about the FTX being down 75%. It's like it made sense at the time, but at the time, like I remember that one and I was like, oh my god, it's all gonna end, and it was craziness. It was fucking nutso. And I was like, oh, wow, like didn't make sense then. Makes sense now. So whatever's happening right now, at some point there will be some campfire stories that help us come to terms with it and make more sense out of it. But like the fear and greed index being as low as it is for as long as it is, like, fuck if I know. The important thing is, like, are you happy buying Bitcoin? Are you not happy buying Bitcoin? what's your time horizon? You know, is it 15 years? Is it a 4-year cycle? Like, what's the decision? So that's my thoughts. You got any closing thoughts?
On that one, no, not particularly, but I do want to get towards one of our other articles here that we did tease as well.
Oh yeah.
Somebody about people talking their book, if you will. The Federal Reserve Kashkari lashes crypto and stablecoins, but praises AI. Minneapolis Fed President Neil Kashkari says crypto is, quote, utterly useless compared to AI, and pro stablecoin arguments are a buzzword salad. Okay. The president of the bank in Minneapolis said that crypto is utterly useless in comparison to AI, took a swipe at stablecoins, saying they don't have many uses. Speaking at the 2026 Midwest Economic Outlook Summit on Thursday, Kashkari drew comparisons between AI and crypto, saying the latter has been around for more than a decade and it's utterly useless. AI has not been around very long and people are using it every day. This is demonstrating to me that this thing is real and has real long-term potential for the U.S. economy as opposed to crypto. And we have an image of the man in question here. Will, do we have we seen this face before?
Yes, I am. I thought that I had it on.
Does that happen to be this
Quick
guy?
Poll. Oh, you got yes. Do you have the video? I'm looking for the video as fast as I can to try and pull it up. But oh wait, here we go. Oh, this is Facebook. You know, this will work. Hang on. Let me do some screen sharing for the folks at home, and we can watch a fun little clip of Mr. Neil Kashkari. All right, so I gotta unmute sound. There we go. And
your ATM is safe, your banks are safe. There's enough cash in the financial system, and there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. An infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
An infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you love somebody to love? You better find somebody to love. Don't you want somebody to love?
Yep. So that's the guy who says that cryptocurrency is useless. This is the guy that's telling you that there's an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. So, you know, I mean, it's like what we were saying in the green room, Z. It's like if you're part of the infinite money printing system and there's a competition that gives me people more power and the option to not use your infinite printing money system, then perhaps it would make sense to be saying this sort of thing. So
yeah, I just find it utterly hilarious that he just continues to pop up, because I'm pretty sure we covered another article about him like 4 or 5 months ago as well. And we're like, wait a minute, I know that guy. But yes, the man hasn't gone anywhere, still gainfully employed by the Federal Reserve. But for this one, look, the point of the article is pretty much saying like, oh, AI might be the future according to this guy, even though arguably he's in a position to directly oppose stablecoins and cryptocurrency as a whole, because he wants to support the Federal Reserve, which maintains the US dollar as the net world reserve currency. Crypto is a threat to that. So does it make sense that he's kind of against crypto? Yeah, it does, especially considering he's been there for a hot minute as well and has not been a believer the whole time. So is AI actually the future in stablecoins or not? Or is this the newest and latest and greatest use against crypto from... I don't want to... Man hasn't done anything too horribly wrong to warrant us just like roasting him for no reason. Did he have the famous clip? Yes. But at the same time, he's making the bet on AI. I can understand the AI bet. I personally happen to think it's definitely overinflated, and there are certain show signs or major cracks inside of the AI armor, namely the amount of money it's going to take to get profitable, the amount of time, and just the sheer scope of that when it's not even cash positive at this point by a mile. So it's like, yeah, let's keep going a little bit here and see.
Yes. Can we read this? Can we read this middle paragraph and kind of discuss it?
From the man himself, Mr. Kashkari, he says, quote, I always ask people, what can I do with the stable coin that I can't do with Venmo today? He said, I could send any one of you guys $5 with Venmo, PayPal, Zelle. So what is it that this magical stable coin can do? Then I get a buzzword salad answer, blah, 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 tokenized deposits.
Yeah, not be stopped. How about that? How about that, Mr. Federal Reserve Central Bank digital currency man?
Like, Will, what do you call it when you argue a point for your opposition, but you set it up in a way that's very flimsy and easily to be able to knock down?
Is that a straw man?
Yes, sir. That would be a straw man argument.
Okay.
Does this feel like a straw man argument to you?
It's quite a straw man argument. And,
I would
like,
agree.
yeah, it's like almost no effort, almost no understanding, and like stupid easy to refute, or like to just point at the flaws in it with just like a modicum of knowledge. You know what this will do is this will convince people who don't know anything about it, and it'll get them thinking this before the idea of freedom has been planted in their mind. So like, I was reading this comic earlier that was like it was about religion. I actually, as a matter of fact, I posted it up in the DGen Roundtable, and in the lessons of history and current events. I'll go ahead and I would actually, I'm going to pull that up because that's a pretty good little lesson about marketing information and things of that nature. So I've got my share screen up over here, and oh, that is not the right one. Haha, this one. Okay, so let's see if I can zoom into this at all. All right, there we go. So so this basically, the long and short of it is we've got the religious guy, and he's like, blah blah blah. We're gonna sacrifice, some people to fix the problems. This guy, just feels like rewarding bad behavior. So he's the skeptic, not the religious guy. And then he's like, oh shit. Well, you think they haven't figured out that if they send curses, if they get attention? No wonder the gods are such assholes these days. You speak blasphemy. So what's the option? Pretending cosmic jerks are being reasonable? Well, then, yes, I'm proudly a heretic. And then, they're about to burn him at the stake. He's like, this doesn't prove me wrong. I'm not interested in proving you wrong, just in shutting you up. Oh, right. So yeah, this will work. So the general idea of this is like, it's super easy to like say the right thing and be the right thing, but it doesn't matter if everyone kills you or if somebody else markets their idea better. So like the Federal Reserve guy, is he concerned about being right? No, he's the priest in this example. Like, we're the guys that are probably about to get toasted on the stake because we have the truth on our side. But if he markets better and he convinces other people first, and he plants that seed of idea before we can plant our idea, then it's way easier to convince something of something that's incorrect than it is to try and convince somebody after the fact that they've been bamboozled and they've been scammed and they've been had. And so like, so that's like the importance of him saying what he's saying. It doesn't matter if he's true or not. It matters if he can market it better, if he can sell it to more people, if he can convince more people. And if enough people listen to him and believe him, they're like, oh yeah, stable coins, that's just Zelle, Venmo, and Cash App. It's the same thing. And it's like, but it's not. The thing that we focus on is sovereignty and control over yourself. You know what Cash App can do? Shut you right fucking down. You know what Zelle can do? PayPal, Venmo, banks, they can all take your money away from you at a moment's notice. They can all charge you fees for no fucking reason. You can your shit can be wiped out. Can't be done on stablecoins. So that's the important thing to remember here. What do you think, Z? I've been monologuing here. Give me your
No,
thoughts.
I think it's kind of just indicative of the situation that we have right now, especially if you look over at what's going on with Congress trying to pass the Clarity Act. The people in their positions are very much entrenched in their positions. The central exchanges want to have yield. The banks don't want them to have yield. Not really any movement there going on. Yep, Lex Luthor, there you go.
Lex fucking Luthor.
Does have that vibe. I see it. But the point is, like, am I surprised that a Federal Reserve employee is saying that stablecoins are useless? No, I'm not surprised, because in their view, stablecoins are useless because they think that the point of a stablecoin is only to be used as a substitute for the US dollar, not anything fundamental or new revolutionary. Pretty much what's going on, it's like, yeah, sure, if you just want to use the stablecoin to send to people, that's fine. But it is enabled to do a lot more than that through all the DeFi stuff. It doesn't have a lot of the same ramifications of using the current financial system. In fact, it's building its own pathways. So if you're a person that doesn't really like value all that kind of stuff, then yeah, you will ultimately boil it down to it is a digital version of the dollar. We already have that. It's called digital banking. So why do you need this? Well, we need this because it's a better monetary system. You're saying the use case for this, but at the same time, it's like you kind of don't want it to succeed because it was threaten the industry that you are in.
Yeah. And I could appreciate that he's standing for the thing that he believes in at my detriment. But it's like at least he's a principled man, or something to that effect at the end result. By the way, shout out to Mr. Frank White. Bang bang PL Start gang. Shout out to you, Mr. Frank White, the creator
Yes,
of the PL
sir.
Start machine.
Thank you very much.
Links. This is a great place to go for links. He's got a fantastic spot that'll get you everything that you need in Pulse Chain. Go check it out. plstart.me. A great place to go. I want to take this time actually to shout out some of the folks that have been showing up. We've got Mr. Just Live rocking and rolling on in here. Sup? I think you guys have been shadow banned on recommended on YouTube. Got to go into the subbed folder. Yeah, it could very well be that YouTube is not boosting us algorithmically, and you have to find us the old-fashioned way. That's why I try as often as I can to pin the text inside the DGen Roundtable Telegram, so that way folks will get a notification that we're going live and things of that nature. So I don't know if shadow banned is necessarily what YouTube's going after for us, but they're certainly not promoting us. Certainly not. So we don't get any help over there. We're not running ads on this channel, and so they don't make any money from that. And we're also trying to teach people how to be sovereign individuals. So I'm sure that George Soros would be very disappointed with us. So it's good to see Mr. Just Live.
Always a pleasure, sir.
Mm-hmm. We've also got
Mitch.
Tam Tam has rolled in. Good to see you, Tam Tam. Welcome, welcome. Pulse Chain's #1 cheerleader that we got over here. Fantastic to see you. Glad that you can make it over here and hang out with us tonight. Also, we've been joined by Mr. Moonpilled Rational Optics, joining us in the rocking out to those sick beats of Mr. Neil Kashkari. So
there you go.
Good to see you, broski. Welcome, welcome. We've also been joined by Mr. Kenturian54X. He thinks that 36,000 or 38,000 is probably the lowest it can go. He can't imagine much lower than 40,000. Got bought up so much below 60,000, it would take World War III and loss of supremacy of the U.S. dollar, maybe even European Union outlawing any and all crypto holdings for it to go down that low. That's a good speculation. I like your chain of logic there. I got no clue how low can it go. It's like a game of limbo in which everything's just a bunch of question marks. We don't really know. Mr. Hex Glenn, by the way, the one asking how low can it go. Good to see you, Mr. Hex Glenn. Shout out to you, sir. And again, Frank White had joined us earlier. Bang, bang, DGen gang. Thank you, sir. We've also been joined by Mr. Tail08eth. Oh, 8eth. 8th? Tail 08? I don't know. But he's rocking and rolling in with the Shaka. Good to see you, homie. I was rolling around on my longboard earlier today. For those of you guys that follow me on Instagram, you'll see videos of me and Sam in the stories and in the reels of our fantastic excursions on the asphalt seas. We've also got Mr. Marcus72 reminding you guys at home to smash the like button and asking, "What's up, fan? What's up with you too, Mr. Marcus72? Good to see you, buddy." A one of the winners of the DGen Roundtable sticker giveaways that I have not done in quite a while, but good to see you, broski. Welcome, welcome, Mr. Marcus. And I believe that concludes the chat chickadee shoutouts. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Frank White, again for that fantastic and very generous super chat. We will invest it very wisely here in the DGen Roundtable and probably use it to pay for a StreamYard again for a year whenever that $400 charge comes up. So unless it goes up again. Yeah, I think we're grandfathered in for $400 a year, but I'm not entirely positive. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I think 400 is the base price, but if you get it on one of the sales, you can get a full year for like 200, 240.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that might be the way to go next time it comes around. So I am signed up for the auto pay, so something's going to come out of my wallet whenever that happens. So we will see. We'll see.
Let me know and I'll split it with you.
Hell yeah, broski. We'll conquer this. We'll conquer this demon. So
that we will.
But running the DGen Roundtable, it's a good time. It is a worthwhile investment to hang out with you guys. I'm happy to pay $400 a year to be able to stream to you guys and chit chat and run StreamYard and things. So super cool and super awesome. Mr. Zenith, we just finished up on the Neil Kashkari. I see the bull theory, the Goldman Sachs, some of the other things. What do you want?
I got one more story for you, and then a little bit of data before we get out of here.
All right.
So coming to us from the Wall Street Journal, who, by the way, is absolutely useless and wants me to pay for this. No. Pardon Binance founder CZ hobnobs with Trump and Sons administration officials at Mar-a-Lago Crypto Fest. Okay, well, Wall Street Journal, you suck. Let's see what CoinDesk has to say. Goldman Sachs, Franklin Templeton, and Nicki Minaj inside Trump's surreal Mar-a-Lago Crypto Summit. Crypto, real estate, and politics collided at Mar-a-Lago Club as insiders debated tokenization and regulation.
It's crazy how much emotional difference there is between two headlines trying to like present the same information, but it's just like I wish that I know that ground.news does a pretty good job and then also the guy, the fucking news on Instagram. He's pretty fun.
Hey.
He just treats everything as, oh, it's the fucking news. I don't know if you've ever seen him. Anyway, sorry, continue.
All good. Attending World Liberty Financials Forum at Mar-a-Lago felt less like a high-powered summit and more like an intimate gathering. If the guest list included people who control trillions in assets and the future of finance, tucked beneath chandeliers and gold-painted trim, the guest list read like a who's who of the industry's old guard and rising disruptors. There were no name tags needed. Everyone seemed to know everyone, or at least someone who did. Conversations floated from future of finance to how it might fix what's been broken in the past, ambitious visions of tokenization assets, regulatory overhauls, and reimagined capital markets. But just as easily, they also got sidetracked with other stuff like FIFA World Cup tournament and a few other stuff going on. Pretty much what's going on. In any other context, the event would seem to be a typical crypto conference. Speakers from traditional financial backgrounds explaining how they're using blockchain or why they're discussing crypto to a dimly lit room. However, the backdrop loomed. This was a conference put on by World Liberty Finance, the crypto company launched and owned by the family of the United States President Donald Trump, held at his golf club, Mar-a-Lago, with several attendees tied to his business interests. Founder CZ of Binance, in his first U.S. appearance since receiving a pardon from Trump, was spotted at the event. Goldman Sachs' David Solomon joked on stage that he was there because his client had requested his presence. Many of the panels themselves were high-level. WLF co-founder Alex Wyckoff asked the U.S. Senator Ashley Moody to walk the audience through her background and reiterated their past grievances with the banks. Quote, it was forced and maybe opportunistic, but we lived a life that opened our eyes to maybe how corrupt the system was. Banks canceled our actions for no reason other than my father was wearing a hat that said, "Make America Great," Mr. Eric Trump claimed. We realized how antiquated the finance was and how punitive finances was. So pretty much the rest of it's just a lot of the similar stuff. But what's odd about this one, or maybe interesting anyways, not odd, is that this is kind of more of the same. This is arguably kind of the sentiment, which is like outsider ideas fighting against the system. I don't know how much that applies anymore, considering that traditional finance is really in on the system themselves now by investing heavily into crypto and also getting these regulations passed. Obviously, as opposed to our previous man, what was his name? Kashkari.
Yeah, Kashkari.
Kashkari is kind of the opposite side of this story. He's representing the Federal Reserve and the US dollar. These guys are representing pretty much everything that has gone wrong with that system. And, well, it's continuing to gain steam at this point. I argue it's less of kind of that outsider appeal, but as it stands right now, it is still that outsider appeal. Namely, they're not part of the club. They're fighting against the club. But the guest list has grown substantially, and they're all well accustomed with each other at this point. Granted, some of the similar kind of kerfuffles have not really been going on as much lately, but they still can and do happen. Debanking, I think, was one of the really big boogeymen of early 2020s. Now that we're in the second half of the 2020s, I think that narrative has shifted a little bit. That could be due to the current political situation, namely like who's in office and who really has the power to go unpunished if they start doing the debanking stuff again. But at least as it stands right now, this does really kind of seem to me like one of the times that crypto has an opportunity to break into the mainstream. I would argue it already has broken in there a large degree with the ETFs being opened up to people, just Bitcoin being much more of a household name, a lot more people actually getting financial advice from their financial advisors, not us, by the way. Nothing we say would ever possibly be financial advice, but their financial advisors are actually advocating for people to hold anywhere between 3 and 5% in Bitcoin in their kind of long-term projection holdings, that kind of stuff. So again, bit of a nothing burger with the news story, but again, it feels like it's a bit of a slow news week, but things are still happening behind the scenes. We still have the Clarity Act that allegedly has a March deadline or end of February deadline for trying to get some sort of negotiations through. We'll have to see it when it happens. Until then, it's just going to be the ongoing news story of, yeah, we're working on it. But that's really kind of the crux of where we're at right now. This does feel like a bit of a critical juncture where it either goes one way or it kind of goes back the other. And the other would really look like kind of nowhere throughout the duration of the Trump administration. And then presumably, if you follow the historical trends of we had a Republican president, we're probably going to have a Democratic president. Once we make that pendulum shift, odds are crypto might be back in the crosshairs if that stuff doesn't pass, which it's why it's important to see this kind of stuff happening. You want to see the people meeting together, actually figuring out how to do the things. You want to see the crypto bills passed as opposed to just have orders to the executive agencies that are free to administer it however they can at their discretion within the bounds laid out. But if there are not very many bounds laid out, that discretion opens widely. So again, is it that big of a story? No, not really. It's always kind of funny to see Nicki Minaj's name thrown around here when it comes to financial matters. But overall, things are still in motion. Just because there's no news doesn't mean there isn't progress. Things are still going on. I bet backroom deals are being hammered out between the banks and the crypto exchanges as we speak right now. Things are in the works. Just keep a pulse on it. The pulse is very low, very slow right now, but it can heat up very fast. Could even heat up like Tom Lee. We're going parabolic fast, but I think that one is maybe closer to that 10% chance of happening, as opposed to this is probably it's much more in the realm of probability of things to happen. The bill is on the table. It has been passed by the House. It has been up for the debate for over a month. We have everybody who's involved already making their stances, and they're already coming back together at the table to hammer out details about what's going on. So likely, I'd give it a 50-50 chance at this point, to be honest with you.
I'm always curious. What was the there was one of the articles in the damn it, in the crypto Twitter news place that I go to. Let me see if I can find it. It was talking about the guy in charge. Damn it. Now I'm totally blanking, and I'm on the spot, and I'm supposed to be talking about the thing that you were just talking about. Who the fuck is the dude's name? Not the central bank. Motherfucker. I lost it. I'm sorry, Z. There was a government person who said things should be passing very soon. And I can't remember the thing, but that's what you were talking about reminded me of. So
I hear you. Yeah, no, that was pretty much it for that one. Look,
Mhm.
meetings are happening. We don't have any results of meetings, but the meetings are happening. Therefore, might have some results soon-ish. This is the part where Brown would chime in and say 2 more weeks.
Don't hold your breath, guys.
Yeah. By the way, Mr. Just Live coming in here saying silver might rip when China opens. Don't want to sidetrack, but yeah. Good sir, don't even sweat that for a second. Yes. Precious metals have been on an absolute tear. They said they won't sell under 104. Interesting. Well, we're currently at 87, so haven't hit there, or HECLA, HECLA. Silver is currently doing pretty well. Had a bit of a dip after the big run up. Gosh, that was late January, not that long ago. Feels like it was a while ago for some reason. But yeah, precious metals are still continuing to move up and up, even despite a lot of the other stuff either staying flat, whether you're the S&P 500, which has largely been chopping sideways pretty much for like 2 full months at this point. We're definitely within this range of like 675 to just shy of 700. And then additionally, when it comes to crypto, I mean, yeah, we are a very different story when it comes to the chart. I think this is largely due to what's going on inside of the crypto markets. We do see times where we're highly correlated with stuff going on, and usually gold and silver are a good analogy for that. But this is a point where we have deviated from the overall trend and are kind of dealing with our own issues inside of the marketplace. The fundamentals have not changed when it comes to the crypto marketplace. It's just the price action and the sentiment and the positions have. So people could be speculating on gold and silver and rotating out of crypto because this looks like the hot market. I understand it. If you're a technical trader, pretty much the technicals on the precious metals charts are telling you that, oh, no, it's bull market over here. And crypto is not showing the same fundamentals. So rotating capital, I get it. But at the same time, that's a very specific strategy. And I'd argue it's not the strategy that most of us are over here trying to implement, which is a long-term crypto strategy. But yeah, look, you're not wrong. If silver could go for a run, gold also could go for another run. I think it's going to take a little bit of energy to break back through those all-time highs that we had recently. And I think that things moving on with the markets you're going to have to see some further developments before we see anything crazy beyond this.
Speaking of something crazy, we've been joined by the Degen Roundtable's Mr. Dace Northal. What's up, amigo? Welcome. Did not anticipate seeing you hopping on in here today.
Ahoy. How we doing, guys? I am, just finished my evening's engagement a little earlier than anticipated and figured I'd hop on if possible.
Excellent. Well, it's actually rather fortuitous finding because you're a person that knows a bit of something about the precious metal markets. You see anything going on with those lately?
I have not pulled them up today. I've been really busy with work today. What are they doing? Crashing, I'm guessing?
No, they've actually been chopping up slightly a little bit.
Okay.
So we had our consolidation after the all-time high there. So pretty much our local high here for gold was about 5,100, back above 5,100, looking at 5,160. And silver is actually looking at something very similar as well, getting up to about 87.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
Meanwhile,
I know that a lot of people are listing that, like, anticipating a big stock dump on open tomorrow.
What's the reasoning for that one?
I think there's a bunch of corporate listings for, anticipating ETF sells on open, that people can forecast, and see people's moves early. I have to go pull the Twitter thread and see if I can post it in the chat.
Yeah.
But man, I've been drinking from the fire hose today in terms of trying to spin all the plates. And no, I have not heard about the precious metals, but that would also indicate that maybe stock market might be heading down.
Stock market's been kind of holding this range between 675 and 700. And look, we had a pretty big day on Friday, so a bit of a reversal. Yeah, sure. I think it's well within the realm of possibility. I don't know if we're going to break down below the 675 mark, but at least, gosh, what is that? Probably 15 points potentially towards the downside.
And it's
price
been
range.
crabbing since basically
2%.
late December.
Yeah, that's the pretty much same thing I'm looking at. We kind of got into this range back in early December, found the bottom of the range mid-December, and then back before the new year, went back up and kind of recovered that area. Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, you mentioned liquidations. I had this one pulled up as well. Not liquidations, ETF flows. The ETFs are looking kind of choppy because, yeah, sure, we had some outflow days, had some inflow days, but a lot of this pretty much was that past price movement towards the downside largely. And sure, we did get a green day for $91 million on all ETFs, but a move towards the downside with ETFs, it's definitely possible. It would shake up kind of the trend that's been going on lately, and especially with crypto making a bit of a move to the downside. Let's see if we moved any further down. Nope. Oh, yep. We just crossed over 65K, looking at the high 64s now. Oop. Yeah, there you go. By the way, Mr. Just Live was saying his speculation is based on China opening after the Lunar New Year. So yes, the our friends out in the East were celebrating the Lunar New Year, so markets could be making some moves after that's coming out. But yeah, Mr. Just Live is saying guessing 97s by Friday, so short it. He's specifically referring to the silver price on this one. So again, sitting at 85 right now, getting all the way back up to 97. It'd be a bit of a move, moving back above our 20-day moving average. We're above the 50 currently, so getting above that could indicate more upwards trajectory, but 97, it's an interesting level. If you have any specific justification for 97 specifically, I would love to hear it, but as it stands, I mean, sure, could be more price.
What is that volume? It's in the place that the normal volume indicator would be.
That
is
is
that just like the daily up or daily down?
Kind of, but this is just showing to me that my volume indicator is not working properly. So,
okay.
Just do that. Pay no attention. You saw
nothing.
nothing.
The hell is that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the rest of the data I had here for you guys, crypto liquidations largely down. Keep in mind, these real big days were on the way down. And then since then, it's been pretty quiet. I think we're looking at, I mean, gosh, $500 million is still a good amount of liquidations. But in comparison, yeah, no, they're still down. And this is what I would argue is an average amount. So maybe slightly elevated considering it was pretty quiet in early or mid-December. But at the same time, no outliers is what I'm really looking at. As far as open interest on the markets goes, open interest is down. Let's bring it back a little bit. So obviously, October, when we had the big liquidation event, tons of open interest was removed. We did move up a little bit, but again, massive liquidations has brought it back down. And people are just not, it appears that people are not interested in getting the open interest back up to where it was, aka people aren't speculating on crypto as much anymore. So because less speculation means potentially less price action. So there you go.
One has to wonder if the post October 10th level that you're saying that it's kind of been written in the sand, the lower standard of open interest. I can't help but wonder if there is an exchange player that now is not running the same strategy, right? High leverage strategy, and that's why there's just less open interest participants because of the wreckage that took place, because of some of the events that happened on October 10th. It looks like now somebody's hung up the game, and doesn't want to quite put the same leverage in, or and maybe that's a trend thing. Obviously, we cover markets, and markets are about trends and narratives and those big moves. But I think when it comes to the open interest chart, right, that's a different cross section than looking at like your holders or just your, it's a very specific group of folks in the chart, I guess is what I'm saying, that like has lost participants.
It is. I would argue that this chart really tries to focus in on aggressive players, people using aggressive strategies, or very large players that are able to actually be profitable through small size trades just through sheer volume. Because it's so massive, 5% turns into $5 million real easily. But what I'm seeing here is that, does the open interest follow the price pretty closely? Yes, it does. But at the same time, we see similar trends, which is like between pretty much March 2025 up through our market top there. You saw that the open interest climbed faster than the price itself did, indicating that more people are entering that market. After October 10th, obviously we had the great liquidation event, so that just wiped out a ton on its own. But price was coming down faster than open interest was, indicating that people were still interested in being inside of this market. But since then, the fall off here kind of shows that no, open interest itself it's gone down by pretty much half of where it was back starting in October.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see, markets. What do we say? Markets hate indecision. That if the Clarity Act gets passed, which is a big if when we're talking about political movements, but if it does get through, right, we could see potentially a recovery on that chart to those old speculation levels, right? Because the market would then have assurance about how it works and what to expect, and they could then speculate on the future with more certainty. Which would be, more in favor of the bulls. That would be my rough hypothesis. I think a lot will be told by some of the political movings this coming week. It is really interesting to see people react to Bitcoin in particular, as it pertains to some of the latest political movements. And it's wild timing, right? We're on the eve of the Clarity Act, and then we get some interesting past, details around some of the developmental entanglements around Bitcoin. I think some of that stuff, is the OG crypto guys out there will be like, this is the strongest Bitcoin FUD I've ever seen, right? Where it's like, no, this is the biggest gun we could bring out to try to say Bitcoin is bad, and here's why. So yeah, it's an interesting time to watch it. The sentiment chart is what I woke up thinking about this morning, driving to work. I was like, man, we are lower sentiment than we are for FTX, than we are for all these big events. And meanwhile, look at the prices. The prices, while they're not where anyone would like them, they don't look like where you would imagine that number on the sentiment chart to be until you go there. It's a novel situation we find ourselves in.
Yeah, we talked about the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index earlier, because we're pretty much we're going on week 3 here of being at single digit lows. If we were constantly at single digit lows, I would imagine that it is a continuous red waterfall of candles. But instead, what we're looking at is we've pretty much consolidated sideways for 2 to 3 weeks now. Granted, as of the start of this show, price did start moving downwards. So you're going to have to watch that move, see where it ends up. But at the same time, it is a bit of an oddity. Will earlier was speculating that it could be that the indicator itself is no longer relevant, or it could just no longer be tracking relevant data. I think that's a fair argument, but at the same time, we have a lot of history with it working well, and we don't have anything fundamentally different. So I don't know how much I agree with that one, but I think it's just it's an interesting spot that people were not ready for. And I think that's going to be one of those moments that really take the market by surprise, which is that you think you know how this works. You think you do, but then it starts working some other way, like we're seeing right now. And people are throwing their hands up in the air or just kind of doubling down on their established positions, as we already showed earlier in the show. We got the classic Tom Lee clip saying that, no, this is the bottom. We're going parabolic after this. we have other people saying no, we could keep going down, and that this is so over, and we should be focusing on other stuff like AI. So, I think a lot of people are just trying to figure out what's going on and make sense of it. And as of right now, I don't think there are any clear answers.
And like, what happens when, like, let's say, Bitcoin does start dropping even more? Then what does the fear and greed index do? Like, go lower? Like, go down to like 1 or 2? And it's like, how
Probably.
low can it go? Like perhaps it is measuring correct sentiment, but we're just like, the market is irrationally, bad feeling right now for reasons that aren't as logical as in the past. So like, the market could feel like dog shit, and it's like, doesn't mean we can't feel like more dog shit, but like, maybe the dog shit of now does not line up with the dog shit of before.
Well, and I think that's right because of the volatility and the volume of people in. There's never been more people in Bitcoin, right? And so more people care about the price now than ever before. And so the price has to bleed less for more people to experience more net pain.
True.
And so I view this as the inverse of, Michael Saylor came out and was like 20% was his hurdle rate per year for Bitcoin. I'm like, we're at 10% over the past however many years. And so this is the inverse of that, right? When you get a saturated top of the S curve, it's unless we get a step function legal change, in how Bitcoin is perceived, and the U.S. government's stacking it, and the paradigm shifts because of a legal choice. I think you're going to see a lot more of this type of stuff where Bitcoin does things that we're not used to it doing because of the saturation of people in it, and like the ETF fangs getting into it. If you go zoom back out to gold pre and post ETF, and like the chart don't move the same before and after, that's for sure.
That's true. That's true. Gentlemen, I apologize, but I'm out of data and information at this point. That is pretty much all I got. Do you have any other topics you'd like to throw out there?
I got nothing. Dace, what's on your mind, man? How you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good. No, thank you for letting me hop on and just kind of spill my guts a little bit. Yeah, thought about this quite a bit. I think that it's going to be really interesting to watch the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio charts, and also the Sol Ethereum charts. Who wins the arms race coming through the Clarity Act. I think you could see some surprise losers and winners as a result of some of the decisions made and concessions that are made, because in reality, they're going to be made behind closed doors. And like a very small number of people are going to cut deals around a piece of paper and a written rule, and then that will be the rule. And so, yeah, it's going to be, it won't be boring. That's for sure. Excited to see what happens here with you boys.
That's true. I mean, again, I hate to just keep on coming on stream and saying that we're in a holding pattern, but that's where we're at.
Yep.
I'm not mind.
Me neither. More time to buy more at a healthy pace.
True.
Yep.
Yeah, if you've been looking for a progressive DCA through a bear market, assuming the bear market narrative is true, it's kind of what you've been asking for. So,
yeah, excellent. I got it right here for the folks at home. It's all going to be okay. We're just going to keep telling cool stories until we're in massive amounts of profit, boys. So
that's amazing.
Hey, I think it was one of the very first interviews, one of the very first shows that I hosted on the DGen Roundtable was when we were interviewing the brothers 64, and those gentlemen rode three bull markets without selling in the Bitcoin sphere. So like, it can be done, and you can do awesome, cool things. So shout out to Sam and Greg of the brothers 64. Doing their crazy long-term investing in Bitcoin. They bought in like super long time ago. It went up. They're like, whoa, this is awesome. It went down. They're like, fuck, we should have sold. Went up again. They're like, oh my god, this is crazy cool. Went down again. They're like, fuck, we should have sold. This last one went up again, and they missed the top again. And like we met them in this last bear market. So who knows? Maybe they did some crazy cool gains and things over these last couple of years. But it's been a while since we've interviewed the Brothers 64, and I remember them saying that it's like, it can very well happen. You might ride multiple cycles and not sell, and just hang out and have fun and meet people and learn some things. It's very expensive education, but as long as you don't sell the bottom, you'll be okay.
True.
So
very true.
And hold your own coins.
Yes.
Don't leave them on exchanges.
Gosh, what was that? 2 weeks ago, we covered the story that Coinbase experienced another error where people couldn't do anything for a couple hours there.
Yep.
Still happening.
Yep.
Still happening.
Yeah, man. 100%. Absolutely. And if you are leaving your money on Coinbase and Brian Armstrong goes and makes a deal with the banks that is unfavorable to the security of your bags, what are you going to do about it?
Yep.
Perhaps
file a
you
support ticket, but that's
you can
about
file a support ticket, or you can go on there right now and you can transfer your money onto your own, key on your own wallet.
True. Very
File a
true.
support ticket. That's great.
It'll go somewhere.
Oh man. Yeah.
Excellent.
Like I'm gonna write a letter saying, please give me my money that you've taken away from me against my will. And they're like, oh yes, but of course, sir, we will give you your money that we've taken away from you against your will. No sweat.
True.
It's been
Alrighty,
a good show, gentlemen. I've had a good
That
time
it has
tonight.
been. Yeah. So let's go ahead and start wrapping it up here. Mr. Will Stevenson, where can the folks find you, and what do you got going on in the near future?
You guys can find me for right now over in College Station, Texas, doing man on the street interviews, having fun with my brother, and hanging out in the DGen Roundtable. You guys can catch us here every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern is when we stream. Wednesday, we talk to people. Friday, we cover books. And Sunday, we cover the weekly news, much as we are doing about now. I won't give away the book for this week's book club because that's Zenith's job, but that's about all that you guys need to know about me. If you want to find me personally, send me a DM over on Telegram at t.me/Will Stevenson. That's all I got. Mr. Dace, broski, where can the folks find you, and what have you got going on in the near future?
You can find me at Dace Northal on X and on Telegram and on Instagram. And I will be live here with my buddy Zenith tomorrow over on Walk the Block. So yeah, that's where you can find me. Tune in.
Love it.
Excellent.
Folks, you can find me over on X and Instagram at zenithdi, but more importantly, you can find us and all you good folks over inside of our private Telegram, which you can access by scanning the QR code directly above me. Inside of there, you're going to find the ongoing running chat with all the great stuff when it comes to crypto and all the fun side topic channels as well. Got some anime, got some gun reviews and stuff like that, and just good memes overall. But big announcement from me is that this Friday, we are going to be covering a book called How to Think Like Socrates. It is actually very reminiscent to another book that we covered called How to Think Like a Roman Emperor. Spoiler, it's actually written by the same guy. And we very much liked How to Think Like a Roman Emperor, so I have very high hopes for this one. I'm very much looking forward to it, and we hope that all of you guys tune in and also enjoy the book, should you choose to read it yourself as well. Instead of that, like Will previously said, all of our streams over here at the DGen Roundtable are 8 p.m. Eastern Time start time, whether it's our Sunday flagship news show, our Whiskey Wednesday, or book club. All of them, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Love having you guys. Love seeing you guys in the chat. Y'all are absolute studs. But that is pretty much all I got for this week. So it's time to do the thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for spending... Oh, go for it.
Mr. Diamond Hand Degenerate has also joined us as well. Shout out to you, Mr. Diamond Hand Degenerate. I've seen you, broski, and you have been shouted out. We love you, dude.
Correct.
Whenever you're ready, Z.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Already.
Pulling out is for quitters.
I want to thank you all for spending your valuable time here with us on the DGen Roundtable. As our Agent Jay often says, we know that time is your most valuable asset. We appreciate you guys investing it right here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Zenith, but more importantly, you have been watching the DGen Roundtable. Mr. Producer, that's me. Go ahead and get that trigger finger ready, because it's time to remind all the folks at home to remember to DGen responsibly.